Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, let's make a super quick, easy, and simple Puerto Rican weeknight meal. Let's make some empanadillas. Let's get into it. So for my empanadillas or pastelillos, whatever you call them, I'm going to be using the Puerto Rican brand Quiquet. Now, if you do a quick Google search, you can find these online. I found them in my local Puerto Rican grocery store, but again, do a quick Google search and you can find them and they'll ship them to you. These are the absolute best pre-made empanadilla discs, the absolute best. And then I'm going to be using this Puerto Rican cheese that I found at the grocery store. It just has like cheddar cheese, Monterey Jack, and the two Gouda cheeses, which are queso de papa and queso de bola, which are common Puerto Rican cheeses. And then I'm going to be using this pizza sauce. You can use any brand you prefer. And then I'm going to use a little bit of ground oregano leaves. So while half of my empanadillas are going to be pizza, the other half are going to be stuffed with Puerto Rican style picadillo. I will have a link in the description box below of how I make picadillo. This one in particular, I made it with some lean ground beef and it was delicious. Okay, so I'm going to start by placing one of my plantillas or the empanadilla disc onto my cutting board. And the way that I thaw these is I place the package in a Ziploc bag, seal it tight or seal it shut, and then I place it in a bowl of hot water until they thaw. But you can also just leave them out on the counter for like about an hour and it'll thaw up nicely. And what I love about these discs is that they are so stretchy and they seal up so good and they always taste really, really fresh and get like perfectly crispy. I love them. I like the Goya ones too. Don't get me wrong. They're good if you're in a pinch and you can't find these and, you just want to make some empanadillas like right now. But I highly recommend to try to find these or order them online. Okay, so I'm going to make the pizza ones. I always add like a good amount of cheese and I always put the cheese first. And then I place the sauce on top. That way I kind of avoid adding too much sauce or it kind of prevents the sauce from spreading out on the empanadilla disc because I like to keep the sauce in the middle. And then I just spray it with a little bit of oregano leaves for some extra flavor. This is kind of like a Puerto Rican style calzone. And then what I like to do is I like to use my fingers and seal it up. And I try my best to remove as much air as possible from the inside of the empanadilla, because I found that with pizza empanadillas in particular, if you leave too much air inside, they will puff up really big when you begin to fry them. And it's kind of frustrating because then you can't fry them evenly. You'll see what I mean later on because it does happen to me with one of them. So yeah, so I'm just going to seal it up really, really, really good. And you want to make sure that no sauce gets close to the edge of the discs. That way the edge doesn't get wet and becomes hard to close. All right, so I thought that it would be really fun to show you guys how I braid an empanadilla. Now, real quick. In my previous empanadilla video, I asked a question: do you call these empanadillas or pastelillos? And there was just such a fun little debate in my comment section that to this day, even though that video was like over a year ago, to this day I still get comments on these are empanadillas, like soy de Puerto Rico and we call these empanadillas, or soy de Puerto Rico and we call these pastelillos. Like what? Some people say that empanadillas are the ones with the braid like this and pastelillos are the ones with the fork. So I don't know, like to me they can be used interchangeably and it's still the same thing. I think it kind of depends like what region of the island you're from. I don't know, like I know that in New York they call them pastelillos, but to me it's the same thing. Okay, so I talked a lot. As you can see, I made the braid, but we're going to do this one more time and I'm going to explain. All right, so let me go ahead and show you one more time and explain how I do the braid. So again, I make sure that as much air is out as possible. I seal it up really, really good with my fingers. And then what I like to do is I like to fold the little corner. Okay. And then I bring it over, flatten it, bring it over, flatten it, bring it over, flatten it, bring it over, until it looks like that. And if you have kids at home, or if you have Play-Doh lying around, you can actually practice with Play-Doh before you attempt to give it a try. My son, he loves, for some reason, when I make empanadillas with the braid. He always asks me, can you please make the braid? And sometimes I'll say no, because I just want to make them really quick, because this does take a little bit more time, but it does give the empanadilla or the pastelillo a really nice crispy texture. Okay, and it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, because once it gets fried up, it looks just fine. It looks really pretty. See, right here, for some reason, it wasn't going as smoothly, but más o menos, poquito a poco, I got it. And it's gonna look nice once it's fried. All right, so I'm gonna make the rest, or the other half, of my empanadillas using picadillo. So in the pack of Quique empanadilla discs, it comes with 12, whereas the Goya ones, I believe, comes with 10. So I just make half of them pizza and the other half de carne. So I put a good amount of meat. And just a FYI, these aren't extra large. These are regular size discs. So I just put a good amount. And then I like to add a little bit of cheese, because that's how my husband likes them. He likes them de carne y queso, with meat and cheese. And actually, this brand Quique, they sell pre-made frozen empanadillas, and they sell some with carne y queso. I actually had someone yell at me in the comments a long time ago, or actually not that long ago, telling me, a la empanadilla no se le echa queso. And I was like, oh, okay. Yes, you can. So you can play around with this, if you're making these at home, and fill them up with whatever you like. And so to distinguish between the meat empanadillas and the pizza ones, I'm going to seal up the meat ones with a fork. All right, let's go ahead and fry these bad boys up. So I have here a large pan. I think it's a 12-inch pan. 12-inch pan. I don't remember. Oh, now that's gonna bother me. But it's a really big pan. And I fill it up with plenty of oil, so that at least half of the empanadilla is submerged in oil. Okay, and then I make sure it's nice and hot, but not piping hot. All right, and I try not to overcrowd the pan. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fry those up until each side is golden brown, and it's gonna take just a couple of minutes on each side. And just like that, all of my empanadillas are done. I fried them up in batches, and they look perfect. So for the pizza empanadillas, I cannot wait. They were so stinking good. If you can find that tropical cheese blend in your area, go ahead and grab it. However, feel free to use a blend of mozzarella, provolone, Gouda, and you are good to go. These were so good. And the meat empanadillas, ni se diga, they were so freaking good. That little touch of cheese and the picadillo. I love that I used a lean ground meat because they weren't greasy or heavy, so I highly recommend that. They were just so good. And that is all for today's video. If you've enjoyed today's Puerto Rican Cook with me, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to hit that notification bell. Until next time.